What does smoking do to your body? What about alcohol? What about living a sedentary, inactive lifestyle? Well, here's the truth. These habits don't just create more inflammation throughout your system, which sets the stage for numerous cancers, including colorectal cancer, but alcohol, tobacco use, lack of movement, and consuming heavily processed foods loaded with additives and preservatives actually weaken your immune system. That's right. And when your immune defenses aren't functioning properly, your entire body becomes vulnerable because you've compromised one of your most critical protective systems against cancer. Now, I covered this extensively in my book, Eat to Beat Disease. You may have come across it already. This isn't a book focused on illness, it's centered on health and wellness, but it contains extensive information on how you can reduce your risk of cancer, colorectal cancer included. There are some groundbreaking advances happening right now that I find incredibly exciting, and that's immunotherapy. So what exactly is immunotherapy? Well, immunotherapy is a treatment approach that's completely different from chemotherapy. It's a therapy that essentially switches on your own immune system to hunt down and destroy cancer cells. It activates one of your body's natural defense mechanisms, your immune system. In my book, Eat to Beat Disease, I discuss the 5 major health defense systems your body relies on: angiogenesis regulation, stem cell function, your gut microbiome, which helps reduce inflammation and fights cancer in its own way, your DNA repair mechanisms, and your immune system. Your immune system functions like an elite squad of soldiers constantly patrolling your body, searching for threats. Think of them as police officers on patrol, cruising through your neighborhood, keeping watch for anything suspicious. When they detect a problem, they rush to the scene and eliminate it. That threat inside your body could be a microscopic cancer cell. So your immune system's job is to identify and destroy these tiny microscopic cancers before they ever get the chance to develop their own blood supply and become dangerous. Now, this blood supply factor is actually a massive issue. I trained in a laboratory that focused specifically on studying blood vessels and tumors, and here's what we discovered. If you block blood vessels from connecting to a tumor, which is exactly what your body naturally attempts to do, that tumor simply cannot expand. It might reach roughly 2 to 3 millimeters across, about the size of a ballpoint pen tip, and then it hits a wall because there's no oxygen supply. Without blood vessels delivering nutrients, growth becomes impossible. You need both oxygen and nourishment to grow, plain and simple. So the cancer remains trapped as a microscopic, pinhead-sized mass, and your body keeps it contained naturally through this anti-angiogenic process. So what actually happens? Your immune system cruises by, detects that tiny abnormal cluster of cells, and eliminates it immediately. That's genuinely how your body manages this threat on its own. Now, for cancers that have already progressed and grown larger, we have medications for colorectal cancer designed to cut off their blood supply. One such drug is bevacizumab, also marketed as Avastin. It works by severing the blood vessels feeding the tumor, and it's approved not just for colorectal cancer, but also brain tumors, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, lung cancer, and several other cancer types. The underlying benefit across all of them comes from choking off that blood supply. What laboratory research revealed is that once you cut off a tumor's blood supply, growth stops completely. Studies have consistently demonstrated that preventing blood vessels from ever reaching a tumor keeps it from expanding. But here's the flip side. In experiments where blood vessels were allowed to connect and begin nourishing a microscopic cancer, that tumor could balloon to 16,000 times its original size within just 2 weeks. That's angiogenesis running completely out of control. Picture blood vessels gone completely wild. You've probably heard the phrase, girls gone wild. Well, this is blood vessels gone wild, and when they feed a cancer, the result can be explosive, runaway tumor growth. That's precisely why anti-angiogenic treatments have become such a crucial foundation in treating colorectal cancer and many other cancer types. Now back to immunotherapy. This matters because your immune system represents that other natural knockout punch your body possesses. Immunotherapy essentially supercharges your own immune defenses. When your immune system gets stronger, it's no longer just a couple of officers in a single patrol car cruising the neighborhood. Now you've got the entire police force mobilized. You end up with a formidable army actively searching for, tracking down, and capturing the bad actors, which in this case are your cancer cells. This is why immunotherapy represents nothing short of a transformative revolution in oncology, in how we approach cancer treatment, by harnessing your own immune system to eliminate cancer. What we're achieving now is something that was once purely a dream, taking the most natural biological process imaginable, your immune system, and boosting those defensive shields high enough to knock cancer out entirely. Remarkably, we found that when immunotherapy gets your immune system firing on all cylinders, it can take patients with stage 3 or even stage 4 cancer, essentially end stage, seemingly hopeless situations, and actually shift that diagnosis from stage 4 all the way down to stage 0. This doesn't happen for every single patient yet. There's still considerable research work ahead to figure out how to help more people respond successfully. But we're starting to understand that certain colon cancer patients who are likely to respond to immunotherapy can experience truly dramatic results. Plenty of people share their immunotherapy success stories across social media platforms. One of the most significant classes of these treatments involves checkpoint inhibitors. You've likely heard about some of them through television commercials, Keytruda, for instance. The actual generic name for that drug is pembrolizumab. These checkpoint inhibitors essentially strip away the disguise that cancer cells use to hide, allowing your immune system to finally spot the cancer that's been evading detection. Once identified, your immune system goes on the offensive. For immunotherapy and these checkpoint inhibitors to work effectively, doctors look for specific biological markers found through tumor biopsies sent to a lab. These markers indicate whether you're likely to benefit from this treatment approach. One such marker is microsatellite instability. When a tumor is genetically unstable, it tends to be more responsive to immunotherapy. There are also targets called PD-1 and PD-L1, which pathologists examine after analyzing the surgical specimen. These are things you absolutely should inquire about if you've received a cancer diagnosis, colon cancer or otherwise. Ask your physician whether your tumor sample has been tested to determine if immunotherapy could be an effective treatment option for you. For checkpoint inhibitors specifically, you're looking for elevated levels of microsatellite instability, referred to as MSI-H, along with markers indicating the tumor has been cloaking itself, such as PD-1 and PD-L1. These are key signals suggesting your cancer might respond favorably to immunotherapy. Let's talk about your gut microbiome. We touched on this earlier. Healthy gut bacteria reduces inflammation, boosts your metabolism, and even improves your mood through what's known as the gut-brain connection. A thriving population of healthy gut bacteria lowers your risk for numerous diseases, cancer included. Researchers believe that an unhealthy balance of gut flora, a condition called dysbiosis, essentially a troubled bacterial neighborhood, may be one of the hidden contributors to cancer that's been overlooked for years. There's now substantial research investigating this connection. So which foods actually nourish your gut microbiome? Foods rich in polyphenols, vibrant, colorful, whole plant-based foods. Think about walking through the produce aisle at your grocery store or the farmer's market. All those colorful bell peppers, berries, and leafy greens are packed with polyphenols. These foods genuinely promote the growth of beneficial bacteria. But dietary fiber deserves special attention here. One study found that for every 5 to 6 grams of dietary fiber consumed, roughly the amount in a medium pear, melanoma patients undergoing immunotherapy treatment saw their mortality risk drop by 30%. Whole plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, legumes, herbs, and spices all deliver polyphenols that nourish healthy gut bacteria, which in turn reduces inflammation and activates your immune system. You can also benefit from cutting back on or eliminating processed meats entirely. Building a healthier lifestyle means limiting excess alcohol consumption, avoiding tobacco, staying physically active, and managing your stress levels, which appears to be another contributing factor in cancer development. Look, I understand this is a tall order. There's a lot to manage in life, and you can't control every single factor. But when it comes to nutrition, we're eating 3 meals a day regardless. So there's absolutely a way to incorporate more dietary fiber and polyphenols into your routine. And by the way, both coffee and tea have been shown to reduce the risk of developing certain cancers, colorectal cancer among them. Green tea specifically contains polyphenols called catechins, which are powerful compounds capable of cutting off a tumor's blood supply. I explore this topic extensively in Eat to Beat Disease. If you haven't picked it up yet, I highly recommend it. It's loaded with foods that help prevent cancer and essentially starve it out. Coffee contains chlorogenic acid, which also reduces inflammation and has cancer-starving properties of its own. Then there are cruciferous vegetables with their own cancer-fighting abilities: broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale, arugula. all containing isothiocyanates, natural compounds known as sulforaphanes that can cut off a tumor's blood supply while simultaneously reducing inflammation. Beans and legumes, white beans, black beans, pinto beans, chickpeas, soybeans, edamame, are all excellent sources of dietary fiber. Extra virgin olive oil contains polyphenols like hydroxytyrosol and oleocanthal, which also reduce inflammation and offer cancer-starving benefits. And then there's omega-3 fatty acids. We once believed only salmon or smaller fish like anchovies, sardines, and mackerel contained them, but it turns out even cod, halibut, shrimp, and shellfish like mussels and clams carry healthy omega-3s too. These fatty acids help cut off blood supply to cancers, acting as anti-angiogenic agents while also lowering inflammation. All of these dietary choices can collectively help reduce your risk of developing cancers, including colorectal cancer. These are genuinely important strategies that, combined with food choices, can enhance how well cutting-edge cancer therapies actually perform. This isn't a matter of food versus medicine. It's food working alongside medicine. I firmly believe that administering the right medication to the right patient at the right moment can be life-saving, and it's absolutely essential for medical professionals to use these tools to help their patients. But what patients do for themselves outside the doctor's office, standing at their pantry, their stovetop, or peering into their refrigerator, can be absolutely vital for strengthening their body's natural defenses, allowing their system to amplify whatever benefits the medications are designed to provide. This is genuinely important. With immunotherapy, patients typically receive an infusion. Checkpoint inhibitors are usually administered roughly every 3 weeks. You can receive it as a standalone treatment or combine it with chemotherapy. Sometimes physicians even double up on immunotherapy treatments. Researchers are actively working to figure out the optimal approach here. We haven't cracked the code for making it effective for everyone, which remains one of the biggest challenges facing cancer research today. But we're starting to uncover some important clues. One key clue involves maintaining a healthy gut microbiome. Remember, your gut microbiome consists of roughly 39 trillion bacteria living within your gut, your colon, and even your cecum, a small pouch within the colon. These bacteria perform genuinely beneficial functions for us, reducing inflammation, which is critically important, improving our metabolic function, and since the gut and brain are interconnected, even helping regulate our mood. Here's something fascinating. A research study conducted in 2017 examined cancer patients undergoing immunotherapy treatment with checkpoint inhibitors. Researchers found that some patients responded remarkably well. Their immune systems ramped up and successfully eliminated the cancer, while others simply didn't respond at all. These non-responders puzzled scientists, and nobody understood the reason behind this difference. When researchers at the Gustave Roussy Institute, led by my colleague Dr. Narita, investigated the distinction between responders and non-responders, you know what they discovered? Bacteria made all the difference. It wasn't genetics, it wasn't lifestyle factors, it came down to bacteria. One particular bacterium identified in this research, and you've probably heard me reference it before, is called Akkermansia muciniphila. In that study, published in the journal Science, patients who had higher levels of Akkermansia tended to respond positively to immunotherapy treatment. This was an incredibly significant discovery. A single bacterial species could determine whether someone responded to treatment or not, while those lacking it tended not to respond at all. It was genuinely a jaw-dropping revelation, one that made us realize just how powerful our gut bacteria could actually be. Back in 2017, there weren't any probiotic supplements available for this specific purpose. So the way this research unfolded, Dr. Narita's team took Akkermansia bacteria from patients who had responded well to treatment and transplanted it into laboratory animals that lacked the bacteria and weren't responding to immunotherapy. And remarkably, once these animals received the human Akkermansia transplant, they began responding to immunotherapy treatment. That's compelling evidence highlighting just how critical this particular bacterium can be. So how can you naturally cultivate Akkermansia growth? It's a naturally occurring, health-promoting gut bacterium. We know that consuming L-glutanins can help. Foods like pomegranates, dried cranberries, and concentrated grape juice contain these compounds. Researchers are also identifying other bioactive substances that appear to promote Akkermansia growth. Oats and oatmeal can stimulate its growth, as can whole grains. Interestingly, dried chili flakes, the kind you'd sprinkle on pizza, have also been found to encourage Akkermansia growth. Chinese black vinegar, the type typically served alongside soup dumplings, has similarly been shown to promote this beneficial bacteria. We don't yet have every answer regarding how to optimize Akkermansia growth, but now there are probiotic supplements available as an option too. If you found value in this video, you're going to love what's coming next. Check it out.